Alright guys, we are going to talk about the Massdrop CTF, designed by Bob Terzuola, produced, are made by we, distributed by Massdrop. This is another one of those Massdrop brand knives. So let's get this started, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. I didn't have the stuff to make my own, so I just bought a chilada. That's a lot of chilada. That's a big can of beer. So there we go. Now we're ready to start. So this is this knife right here. So this knife right here was designed, like I said, by Bob Terzuola. And then produced by we. It is a pretty nice little knife. It is an S35VN steel, and they are serialized. A lot of people are saying that they didn't think they were serialized. There is a small serial number right up there under the thumb stud. Mine is number K390. Would have been a lot cooler if it was M390, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that be cool? That I got an M390 knife that's made out of S35VN. So let's look at it a little bit here. Give you a few specs before we flip it around and take a good look at it. It is because I couldn't remember, it is just like I thought, 3.5-inch blade, G10 scales, titanium hardware, titanium pocket clip, titanium liner, ceramic detent ball. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a limitation on what I can do with these, and I'll explain it in a second when we turn this around. Just give me just a second. So guys, this is filmed last. I've done some creative editing. You aren't seeing it. What comes in the box? So we'll look at what comes in the box. So of course you get your knife, which I've already obviously opened this. So inside the box, let's see what I got. And then we'll talk about the rest of it and turn it around. So you get a Terzuola Massdrop pouch. Patch. The patch that does say Massdrop, and with all the we / Massdrop knives, nice case. They've always sent their stuff out in nice cases, but you get the wipey cloth with the Terzuola dragon, so you get his maker's mark on your towel. So that's what's in the box. That's what it came with. So I apologize, this video is gonna have some creative editing. So guys, let's take a good close look at this up close and personal. Like I said, titanium pocket clip that is done in a hybrid fashion, where it is partially like a milled clip and partially like a bent clip, which I do like. It's the best of both worlds. It's not my favorite. I would prefer just a flatter, wider spring clip. Titanium thumb disc, titanium liners, ceramic bearings, and ceramic detent ball. Now, this is S35VN blade. My only thing with it is I'm not a big fan on a knife of this style. I'm not a big fan of the satin. I think that a knife like this should be black, especially if you're sticking with the tactical theme. You have a nice fuller on both sides. It is a little sharp. The edges right there at the end of the milling on both of these are a little sharp, but you're not gonna feel that. That's not gonna be something that you're gonna notice. Kind of a spear tip blade shape. And like I said, milled G10, they did a really good job on it. Those lines are consistent, and the texturing of the G10, not too grippy. That's one of the things that kind of is off-putting by a lot of knives done in G10. The G10 is almost too grippy. It tears up pants. It's hard to deploy and get out of, you know, the pinch in here. It's hard to get out of a pair of pants because it is so grippy. I had a cold steel AK-47 that was like that, and I wound up having to take the pocket clip clear off and sand a small flat spot there. Like I said, G10 backspacer, and then you come down, fairly thick blade stock. It did get sharp, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not slicey, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Flipper tab almost completely disappears once you deploy the knife. The flipper tab is right there. Once the knife is deployed, it's pretty much nested and gone. I don't 100% know if I like this. I wish I had a deeper choil, but this is keeping true with a lot of Bob's designs. Like I said, they are serialized. You can see right there, mine is K390. Massdrop logo is nice and clean. It's not over intrusive. We'll talk about that in a minute too. The only issue that I've had with this knife is, let's see if I can capture it, it's ground further on this side than that side. At first I thought that just the edge was asymmetrical, and as I was trying to fix it, I kept looking at it and going, it doesn't look right, but you can see ever so slightly that grind favors this side is deeper. I had initially thought that it was something to do with the swedge on the back, and it isn't. It's just ground in further on that side, and I did notice when I was sharpening that this was almost recurved at the tip, which would go along with that being a little bit off. But all in all, I mean, that's just a small, minor defect. I mean, if I hadn't really looked at it real hard trying to figure out why, I knew my angles were even, but my tip still looked off. You can see it a little bit. It happens. It really does happen. It happens to much more expensive knives. Titanium liners, backspacer. Now, some people have complained about this being a little rough. It does not bother me. Mine's not sharp. You can deploy it with the thumb stud. You can flip it. You can also thumb flip it with that disc, that thumb disc. And I forgot how much I like a knife with a thumb plate or a thumb disc. The AK-47 was the last knife that I had that I carried regularly that had one. The only problem that I see is some of my lefty friends are going to have some complaints about the fact that there's a substantial, generous cutout there, but nothing there. The problem is, guys, if you look what's there, you can't cut that out. So I heard people complaining, it would be nice if it was, and I was like, yeah, you really can't do it though, because that's where your lock bar is. So let's get this turned back around. Like I said, I like the hardware. There was some controversy over this knife, which we'll discuss in a minute. Bronze and tumbled, it's got a nice dark look. Black and bronze always look good together, especially this darker bronze with the tumble. So we'll take a look at, this knife is probably going to wind up with a black blade. Just something that's not as shiny. I don't like shiny on a knife of this style. So there has been some controversy about this knife in the Massdrop forums. Now, I want you guys to take everything I say and remember what I'm stating as an opinion. But the fact is that the issues that people are hollering about and things like that are not issues that are that big of a deal. Now, so the first issue is the hardware got pictured, the prototypes that they had was polished bronze hardware. Polished bronze, it was all polished bronze, it was not tumbled. So it arrived looking different. The other thing was the Terzuola dragon that you saw that's on this blade was also supposed to say Terzuola above it, just the lettering. And so there's been a lot of people flipping out and stuff. Sorry about that, guys. My phone rang. I once again forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb. So anyway, what I was saying was there's been a lot of people flipping out about the change in the logo and things like that. And there's been some stuff going on in a few of the drops lately where people are complaining about certain things. the thing that gets me about this is, okay, so everyone complained about the Massdrop logo. Get rid of Massdrop's logo, this and that, leave the maker's name up on it. Well, the fact is, Massdrop is the maker. When it comes down to it, we is the maker. Massdrop is the guys that had this made. They got permission to use Bob's design, and Bob designed it for him. So these guys are going, well, I wanted the maker's mark on it. Then you want the we mark. Because here's the thing, and I have to remind myself, a lot of these guys are going on these forums, and a lot of guys that go on Massdrop and they're buying these knives. For them, a $150 knife that's like top tier. And I forget that for me, a $150 knife that's just an average budget line knife. Because the knives that I carry a lot of times are in the $500 to $700 range. Now, comparatively, this knife stacks up against them. But the things that get complained about are these little things that don't affect. And it's no different than some of the things I complain about when I see a $700 knife that has issues, such as maybe some of the small stuff on that Chadnell, like is it affecting the utilization and use of that knife? No, not at all. So now the hardware being different, I do kind of understand. But there's people that are just going on this forum, and a lot of times, just like in comment sections, they're going in just because they're unhappy with their life and they want to make someone else miserable. Now I get it, there's people that don't like the Massdrop logo. But telling Massdrop not to put their logo on their brand is like trying to tell Marfione not to put a great big Marfione logo or Microtech logo. It's not going to happen. So, I don't know why people are so adversely, but I think they're getting it mixed up. They're thinking that the knife is like the Falcon. Well, the Falcon, everybody complained about the Massdrop logo. Take it off of there, that's horse. And I was like, it's not a Ferrum Forge knife, guys. They were fine with the Ferrum Forge mark, but not the Massdrop. I was like, it's not a Ferrum Forge knife. It's a Ferrum Forge design. It's a Massdrop knife. It is the Massdrop. They're starting their own brand. And good on them, because you know what? That brings more people to the knife community, because, good news for you, there's a lot of people in the knife community that I don't like. They are stuck in old thought processes, and some of these companies that cater to those folks are going to find out real soon that their customer base is dying. And I mean that literally, like the 60-year-old guys that these companies cater to. They're not going to be around anymore. So Massdrop's doing a good thing. As far as this knife as a utilizable tool, it is pretty good. It's a very good knife. It is extremely smooth action on 100. And I think these were 150 when the drop ended. And they're so smooth. Now, there is something about this knife that I'm not 100% a fan of, and it's the same reason. It's one of the things about the Falcon I didn't like. This has an internal stop pin, which a lot of my other knives do too, but this is enclosed. So what that means is, you see in here, you're not going to see your stop pin at any time in that, because what it is inside that knife, there's a half moon groove where the stop pin sits inside. I'm not a big fan of that, because with an internal stop pin, with an internal stop that is not enclosed, I can clean out that area without having to worry about stuff getting down in. The only way to clean out the track for that stop pin is to take it apart. Same with the Grimsmo, same with the Falcon. It's not a bad design, it's not a design flaw. It's just something that I don't like, the fact that my stop pin could get gunked down in there and then offset maybe not allow my liner lock to you know, fully lock, and now I've got a knife that may not have locked. I can see down inside most of my other knives down in there and see where, if there's gunk and stuff on the stop pin and in the little socket where it sits. Can't do that with this. So that's pretty much the only part of the design I'm not a fan of. And I did say that I would tell you there was some limitations on what I can do if you want these refinished. And here is the big one. I am not going to coat liners on these because I have to bake the liners. If I was to do black on this, I would have to bake the liners. And if I bake the liners, there's a good chance that detent ball is going to fall out. Let's go back to elementary school and let's think about when you heated up the thing that was the, remember in elementary school science, you had the ball and your ring. Me and Chris were talking about this yesterday. And you try to put the ring inside, you know, you try to put the ring over the ball, but it doesn't fit because the ball's the same size as the hole. You heat it up with a torch, and Bob's your uncle, you can get that ball right through there because it expands. Steel has a pretty good coefficient of expansion, thermal expansion. Titanium's a lot worse. I mean, a lot broader coefficient of thermal expansion. So what happens is you have a very good chance of that detent ball, while it's baking at 350 degrees, just falling out of your liner. So I won't do that. I will re-anodize. I'll re-anodize, I'll refinish, I'll do all those things for you, but I will not be ceramic coating any of the liners on any of these knives. Or any other titanium liner, to be precise. That's one of the things that we had to, I draw a line at. I do not want to run a risk. So, that's it, guys. That is the Bob Terzuola. Oh, no, it's not. I got to edit this. All right, guys, that's it. That's the end of the video. I apologize for all the editing because I missed things because I'm trying desperately to get stuff done. Get ready because we leave tomorrow for Blade Show West. So any of you guys that are going, not going to be hard to find. I'll probably be close to Rat Bastard Knives. When I have downtime, that's really starting to get on my nerves bad. So when I have downtime, I'll probably be over at Rat Bastard's Knives table with Nathan. So if I'm not there, I'll be walking around the show handing out business cards. So, all right, guys, that's it. I'll see you guys. I'm going to do a lot of filming at the Blade Show West just to get, you know, as much content for you guys as possible. It's part of the reason I'm going. Patreon paid half the trip pretty much. So, all right, guys, that's it. Take it easy. I lost my remote somewhere while we were on our skating trip, so now I'm gonna have to do the unprofessional method of hitting the actual physical button. So you guys take it easy, and I'll see you next time.